Thank you, Doctor. Iran is another world hotspot. They are known to fund and train terrorists. They have sent fighters and equipment into Iraq to kill Americans. They have threatened to wipe the U.S.'s ally, Israel, off the map. On top of all of that, they are brazenly and aggressively going after nuclear weapons. What should the U.S. do about Iran? We'll begin with Dr. Burkee.
Iran is an interesting case study. Now I teach Middle Eastern history at Concordia University, and our relations with Iran were really ruined during the Carter administration. The people of Iran are by and large very young, very modern, very pro-Western, and they are easily whipped up into nationalist hysteria by stances that we take towards Iran that are overly aggressive. So while we need to be very firm in ensuring that we prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who is the president in Iran, is a true believer Shiite Muslim who has an apocalyptic vision of the end of the world, and I do believe that if they got nuclear weapons, he would use them. However, I believe that relations with Iran might best be fostered with a carrot and a stick by making sure that we open up to them, that we perhaps allow them opportunities to enter the world market as we have with China. We've got some odd disparities in our foreign policy today. We approach China by opening up our markets to them under the premise that if they have free markets and free market capitalism and have free consumer choices, that in time they're going to demand political freedom. And yet we have a completely opposite approach with places like Cuba or places like Iran. Iran is one of those places that I believe would naturally respond to outreach. So too much saber-rattling with Iran I think is going to be very problematic for us. But at the same time, we need a firm stance working with our European allies to make sure that they do not obtain nuclear weapons.
Thank you, Dr.
I don't think we should engage with Iran without preconditions. Senator Obama wants to think that way. I don't. We have to remember what caused the problem with Iran, and that was them breaking the international law by occupying our embassy and holding our diplomats hostage for 444 days. The way to deal with Iran is from a position of strength. And the way we have a position of strength is by having both a strong economy and a strong military, which we use in a prudent manner. Now, I want to get back to military funding. The best thing that happened since the end of the Second World War in this country is by our going to an all-volunteer military. We don't draft people anymore. The people who are in the military are there because they want to be in the military. And the professionalism that they have shown since we've gone to an all-volunteer army, I think has made every American proud, regardless of what their political persuasion may be. But we've got to be smart in keeping the all-volunteer military. I voted against the GI Bill because it gives full benefits to people in the military after 3 years. That means people won't re-enlist. And it's really expensive to train people to operate the type of equipment and weapon systems that are in a modern military. That GI Bill, if it goes to its fruition, is going to wreck the all-volunteer military, and that would be a huge shame. With Iran, I think we have to stay the course. We have to work with our Western European allies, particularly the British, French, and Germans that have been on the front line in doing the negotiations. And if Iran continues to blow off United Nations resolutions, then the sanctions should be tightened rather than loosened.
Now we move on to the audience question portion of the forum. I'd like to thank all of the audience members who submitted questions. We have more than we will be able to get through, so we'll cover as many as we can. So let's begin. As a Republican, what are your core values? We'll begin with Congressman Sensenbrenner.
My core values are listening to the people, limited government, keeping the tax burden down, and keeping spending in check. I don't run around bad-mouthing Republicans. I have worked as a Republican in the vineyards since my high school days. And I have spent a lot of my time building the Republican Party and electing Republicans besides myself. I will continue to do that for the rest of my life because I look at what goes on the other side. Now, the Republican Party isn't perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than what the Democrats have come up with and what the Democrats have done. And rather than harping on Republican failures when we haven't been able to do all that we wanted to do or gotten them wrong, we ought to be spending our time convincing voters, particularly the independent voters who decide elections, that the Republican Party is in tune with them, is with them on the issues. I've done that during my time in Congress. From the beginning, opposing Carter's gas rationing programs, to having specific arguments with some of my Republican and most all of my Democrat colleagues about granting amnesty to illegal immigrants. Those are my Republican core values, and I think they're shared by the people of the 5th District since I've been out listening to them at the town meetings and all the appearances that I've had during my tenure in the Congress of the United States. Thank you.